This wedding was an assignment for my Religion 2 class in Catholic school.
This one's wife. She has to pay to appear. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. When it comes to famous individuals, whether they're celebrities, politicians, pop stars, authors, whatever it might be, they're often able to command fairly substantial fees just for turning up and smiling and waving and having their photographs taken at a particular event. In some instances, the relevant star or celebrity might just charge a nominal fee because it's a cause that they are supporting and they don't want to drain the charitable coffers too much. But ordinarily, stars and celebrities can make quite substantial sums of money. For example, Barack Obama is rumoured to charge somewhere in the region of $400,000 northwards with regard to after-dinner speeches. Kim Kardashian West reportedly netted $500,000 for celebrating her 34th birthday at Town nightclub in Las Vegas a number of years ago. Mariah Carey was paid $300,000 for an hour-long appearance as the Queen of Christmas at the Pier 1 Imports Christmas pop-up storybook in New York. Cameron Diaz charges around $150,000 to $300,000 for appearances. Kylie Jenner charges $200,000 and indeed was paid that for showing up to her own 18th birthday party years ago. Sean P. Diddy Combs, he charges up to $1 million for US events and up to $2 million for international appearances. Thus, big fees to be made, and there are lots of other instances of stars who were perhaps not as popular as they once were, still raking in quite substantial fees. For instance, Duran Duran, the 80s megastars, charge around $250,000 for their appearances. This one's wife, you'll recall, couldn't believe that she wasn't being paid when she was doing a meet and greet in Australia. And naturally, because she believes that she's hugely important, she would expect to be paid for making appearances. But such is the level by which her stock has plummeted, it's not only the case that she isn't going to get people wanting to pay her to turn up, but rather she is now in the situation of having to pay to make an appearance. Yes, that is demonstrative of how far she has fallen. That not only is it the case that she can't land the big deals with the fashion houses and the cosmetic giants, that there are no arena tours to be made in respect of her going on a speaking tour, but for her to gain some form of prominence, it's necessary for her to pay to promote herself. As evidence of this, she has just done this in relation to her forthcoming appearance at the South by Southwest conference. I had some input from my expert publicist about this latest development of this one's wife needing to pay to appear. The panel that this one's wife is appearing on at South by Southwest is sponsored by Archwell. The simple reason why this is because nobody would invite her to speak at such an event unless she pays for it. Despite the fact that she believes that she ought to be paid for answering the door and saying hello to somebody, the fact is, this organisation was not going to spraff any money on her whatsoever. However, it is content for her to make a payment. Essentially, when you sell sponsored sections, this means less work for the conference organisers, and therefore they're very much on board with people doing this. Therefore, the conference organiser essentially subcontracts that element to the relevant sponsor. So the sponsor then takes full control of the appropriate panel session, keynote session, etc. The sponsor invites the participants, who are then invariably paid to appear, pay the moderator and so forth. In some instances, sponsors prefer just giving a chunk of money to the organisers of the conference and ask them to arrange everything for them. But that hasn't happened here, which is no surprise, because we know as a narcissist, this one's wife needs to control everything herself. And what she has done here is once again utilise other people's money, namely that of Archwell, to sponsor the event, and in so doing gain control over this panel and who appears, naturally shoehorning herself in, so it makes it look like she's been invited to appear, although she actually hasn't, and to give her control over the other women that appear on the panel so that she can seek to acquire character traits from them. She can link their names in promotional materials, and she can appear on the panel with them, thus managing the facade and making herself look good into the bargain. This approach from sponsors is very much welcomed by organisers, so long as the participant selection and the topic of the sponsored panel don't break the rules of the conference. This one's wife bought an all-female cast to her paid gig. She wasn't asked to speak, she wasn't invited to attend, she's certainly not paid to attend by South by Southwest. Instead, Archwell contacted them and said, look, we'd like to be involved, we'll pay for a panel, is that okay? Now it might be that this one's wife draws a fee from Archwell, yes, her own charity, for attendance, that she charges it on the basis that, well, we're paying other people to attend, so I should be paid to attend. And of course, she's not using her own money, she's using money that has been donated by other people. You would think that she would want to preserve the assets of the foundation, but we all recognise that the foundation is really just a vehicle to achieve several things. One, control over people by enabling her to create an arm that supposedly does good things. Two, she draws fuel by way of people's responses to it. Three, it enables her to acquire character traits, such as in the instance that I've described here with South by Southwest. And four, two noticeable residual benefits. First, facade management, and second, it's a vehicle by which she can get other people to pay for her to look good, so that she could actually sometimes make money from it by charging an appearance fee to the foundation, and in other instances at least have her expenses covered so that she can flit around in a private jet, have a wardrobe all expensed through Archwell. Many would think this is not a sensible use of funds, but of course she doesn't care because of her sense of entitlement and lack of emotional empathy. The fact is that she wanted to appear, wasn't invited to appear as a VIP speaker. Now, ordinarily, what you would do as a sponsor would have your logo front and centre and the organisation's name clearly marked everywhere as a sponsor of the panel, which has happened with other events. But she's not doing that. Instead, she's playing it down because she wants to make it look like she was invited to appear as a VIP speaker when actually she hasn't. Now, you can contrast the way that Archwell has dealt with it and the way that this one's wife has dealt with it compared to a co-sponsor of her panel. Something called 19th Media is involved, and they have actually demonstrated that it's a paid-for event by 19th and Archwell in their website post. Their website post at 19thenews.org states, "We can't wait to see you at our official South by Southwest event. Join the 19th at 3 South by Southwest events, featuring this one's wife, Katie Couric, Brooke Shields, and our new podcast, The Amendment." There's then a blurb about them going to Austin, Texas for the annual South by Southwest conference this month. Here's what to look forward to. We're celebrating International Women's Day, etc., and explains what you need to add to your schedule. The Amendment with Erin Haynes, that takes place March the 7th at Hilton Austin downtown. Breaking Barriers, the one with this one's wife. The 19th is partnering with the Archwell Foundation for a South by Southwest centre stage panel with this one's wife, Katie Couric, Brooke Shields, and Nancy Wang Wen, moderated by Erin Haynes. So they make it quite clear that they're sponsoring it. They make it quite clear that this is a paid-for event. But this one's wife doesn't. There is mention of Archewell paying for the event on the South by Southwest programme site, but you won't find any mention of it being an event purchased by Archewell on the Sussex.com post. Nothing at all. The publicist that I have input from states that she would be frankly baffled if one of her clients sponsored a session at a commercial conference and tried to hide the fact that his or her company paid for it, instead pretending they were invited by the organisers. However, understanding narcissism, you wouldn't be baffled by it because you'd realise that in the instance that this narcissist, who needs to get control, fuel, character traits and residual benefits, will go so far as causing her foundation, using other people's money, sense of entitlement, to sponsor an event and make it look like she's been invited to speak at it and appear on the panel, when in actual fact, she's just paid to attend. Unsurprising behaviour from the narcissist, and demonstrates two fundamental points. The first, the duplicitous nature of this one's wife, the way that she looks to hide these things, and secondly, the fact that she really isn't popular, that nobody is inviting her to things, and they're certainly not going to pay her, but they will allow her to attend if her organisation throws some money at the event. After all, why not do so? Thus, this one's wife, she has to pay to appear because she's simply not popular. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.